Hey, what's going on, you guys? So today, to start this video, I want to give a shout out to my son. um he's at a time in his life where I'm just really starting to see his level-headedness, and I have to give him a lot of credit for it. Does that mean that every day's you know amazing? No, but it is definitely a privilege to be able to just see him being a type of individual who still tries to find balance for himself without me having to say that sometimes. And I definitely want to say to the men out there that have had to be mature in their circumstances early on in life. Like, I see y'all, I appreciate y'all. It's really a lot of love to y'all, because I started to realize that I don't, maybe a handful of times I've heard somebody say like, "Oh, that young man's really mature for his age." And honestly, I heard it my whole life. You know what I'm saying? And I started going back and being like, I don't even know if it was really maturity that I had, because I'm like, I don't think that I had a whole bunch of conversations with adults back then to be wise. I just know that I was respectful. And I mean, that doesn't necessarily take away from what maturity is or isn't, but I'm like, there's so many people that have gone through so many different types of situations in their life that I would never tell another person just flat out that they were not mature based on kind of what they show. Now, did I start here? No, because normally I would be like, "Oh, well, that you're acting so immature and this, that, and the third." But being where I'm at now, I'm starting to understand that um, there are so many people that have kind of dealt with mature situations way earlier in life that you might not even know anything about. And the realms of how they dealt with it were probably more mature than you realize. But because so many people don't get the proper um, emotional development skills for themselves, like for themselves, that how things come out, they just look differently than how you might handle it yourself. And that's like one of those essential things in life, is just as many times as we can um be given information and words and things like that, like, you still have to take time to kind of decipher what certain things mean and what they mean to you. Because just as much as I've heard, in a lifetime, you know what I mean, be a wife. Everybody doesn't necessarily want to be a wife. Like, it's just one of those things. Like, for me, I've always wanted to be a wife and a mother, right? And I didn't need a soul to tell me that that's what I wanted to be. That's what I wanted to be. And, being where I'm at now, I realize that having a partner is essential for me, because I need a certain type of support. So that being built in would be a great thing. And then just being a mother, just like me doing these videos and like guidance and things like that, that's just a part of my nature. Like, that's just who I am. But then it goes into like men being told to be a man early on in life. But that entails so much more. Being a man is, being a leader, but the leader still has to provide protection, and protection is more than physical, just as much as being a provider is more than financial. And we're just gonna leave that there. Um, but there are just so many avenues in parenthood and just life, just in general, where I think that a lot of us didn't necessarily, like I said, get the skills that were really meant for us. And a lot of times what we have to do is reparent ourselves, and be okay to reparent ourselves just because of that. Because I think the one thing that I've seen just so often is that we'll take the deficit of what life has given us, but we won't go beyond that moment because of the idea of what we did or didn't have. And to be honest, as adults, those resources for healing are always out there. So, yeah, it's always up to us to decide what we want to go after. So, yeah, that's it, guys.